Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about what I believe is the scariest zodiac sign, and yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Now, first off, I want to elaborate and expound on what I'm saying. When I say what I think is the scariest zodiac sign, which one, puts us, the biggest state of trepidation on average? Which zodiac sign would we fear the most out of the 12 zodiac signs on average? Now, I'm going to start out, I'm going to go through all the signs and I'll tell you, which one I think it is at the end of the video. First off, Aries. Well, Aries certainly is a viable candidate because Aries is, can be very volatile, explosive. They're known and notorious for acrimonious disputes with others. They could become very angry, acerbic, and hot-headed. They're easily provoked, but Aries is not one to be vengeful, vindictive, or hold a grudge for any prolonged or protracted time. Aries could be one of the scariest ones because Aries knows how to fight and win, and whether it's a figurative way, whether it's a physical confrontation, and it could be destructive when they get really angry and volatile. And you don't want to make an Aries upset, and they're going to let you know about it pretty quickly and readily if that happens. But I'll let you know at the end of the video whether I picked them. They're definitely a candidate. But anyway, now as far as Taurus goes, Taurus can be scary when they reach their point of endurance. Taurus is known to be rather passive, docile, and gentle. They're not easily provoked, but they can become infuriated when deeply angered. It's a sign, you don't want to. It's kind of like, when you poke the bear too many times, and what happens when you poke the bear incessantly and it finally reaches its limit. Well, that's how Taurus can be. Taurus, again, is very, docile, very gentle. When they're not aroused, if they're not, if they're, in their content state, and they'll take a lot, from people before they really, explode. But but I wouldn't, Taurus. Yeah, I don't really wouldn't think they would be, see them as, as far as the scariest zodiacs. I know they can become scary if you really provoke them. Now, Gemini. Well, Gemini could be a candidate for the, the scariest zodiac sign because what's scary about Gemini is, their extreme swing because Gemini, though it's a mutable sign, they're generally, pliable and easygoing. They're very, very adaptable to things and circumstances or what have you. But, some, Gemini can be very mercurial and be, one way, the 1 minute, and vacillate, and then they'll go to another mode the next, and you don't always know when that's going to happen because the symbol of Gemini is the twins, and they can vacillate back and forth. It's like a pendulum basically, and Gemini can flip on a dime. So I would definitely put Gemini up there, and I'll let you know at the end of the video whether I choose Gemini or not as the scariest zodiac sign. Now, going to the zodiac sign Cancer. Well, Cancer, can be, scary. I'm sure a number of you have seen, online where they have, the zodiac sign Cancer as the one listed as, the one that's most apprehended or something on the FBI's list, or you got to go look online to elaborate on it and see it more in detail. Even though they're just going by sun sign alone, of course, on that they don't know obviously the full charts of those people. But anyway, Cancer, is similar to Gemini because Cancer has these mood swings that could be very, fickle, moody, and temperamental. Some of you may know my sun sign is Cancer, but I think my Taurus rising stabilizes that big time. But anyway, I wouldn't. Cancer, is generally, very caring and dedicated and devoted, and but the thing about them is they do have the wide mood swings. A lot of this is attributed to these transits of the moon, which rules the sign, and they're also it's their environment they're exceptionally sensitive to, and that's where sometimes things for Cancer may not always go well with the emotions and the moods. So Cancer can be a candidate for this, and I'll let you know at the end of the video whether I think the zodiac sign Cancer is the scariest zodiac sign. Now going to Leo. Well, with Leo, I mean, we know Leo is very prideful, very dignified. They are known to have a ferocious temper. They're known for their ferocity. And Leo, can be, they could be very formidable and scary. They will unleash that mighty roar of the lion. They're not quite as easy. I would say there's easily provoked compared to Aries, but they're not far behind. They are a fire sign. Their temperament, of course, is fiery, like the signs, like the element that their sign is connected with suggests. So, I mean, I would put, Leo, their anger, really ascends to a roar like the lion. When you make a Leo mad, it's like, hath no fury. You heard the expression, a woman scorned, but hath no fury. Maybe like a Leo scorn. But they blow up quick, they're like the flares, like the sun, but they, calm down just as easily. I had a grandfather who passed away about 30 years ago, had a Leo son. I don't know his ascendant because I don't know his time of birth, but he was known to, blow his stack from time to time. And so Leo can be, one of the scarier signs, but, I'll tell you, at the end of the video whether I think it's them or not. But anyway, Virgo is the next one. Well, see, for Virgo, I would be hard pressed to pick them as the scariest zodiac sign. Virgo is generally very, proper, refined, scrupulous. They're, known for doing, the right things and trying to, notorious for good behavior. I'm not saying all Virgos are like that. There's all, you got to look at so many, elements of the chart. But the thing is, just generally speaking, Virgos want to be perfectionists, and that can include, how they act toward others and their general behavior. So, it's really hard for me to say that, Virgo, and they're very, the temperament with Virgo, I notice, tends to be fairly mild, and it's not one that I would, correlate with being overly scary or frightening. So I would not choose Virgo as the scariest zodiac sign. Now going to Libra. Well, Libra is really very, similar, comparable to Virgo because Libra is very refined. They're very much about peace and harmony and tranquility. They want to have, they're very cultured. They want to have, their certain refinement in their life, and they like to have things, really just in a very, peaceful state. They're about, reconciliation. They're not ones that are, ones to be combative or engage in quarrels with others. They like to have everybody at peace. They like harmony, and, this is a sign that's not, it's hard to see them as scary. I'm not saying, Libra is, perfect by any means, but Libra, they, in a negative, side of Libra, they can be, relationship disruptors. That could be a little bit scary because they know how, because they could be so persuasive, and they can get these people, others, they could find ways to get, others, arguing and fighting with each other. So they're, they can be a little scary, but I don't see them as the scariest zodiac sign. Now going to Scorpio, and you talk about a viable candidate, the zodiac sign Scorpio, they're right there. Because Scorpio, it's dangerous, and what makes them scary, just alone, their presence is formidable, especially when it's Scorpio rising. They have a very piercing, penetrating gaze, and they will see often right into your weakness and often be able to use it against the person. And it's not just, their physical presence, it's understanding what they're capable of doing. You know, Scorpio can do things to others, not, you know, it doesn't even have to be through physical harm. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, Scorpio knows how to manipulate, and they're, you know, very proficient at that, to say the least. And they know the perfect way to get somebody back that has scorned them and done them wrong. They will find out, unearth, you know, secrets about you, and, you know, in a heartbeat. They'll find it often quicker than the most other people, and they can be very sneaky and surreptitious, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you find out, you know, someone's, you know, got something on you, you know, or something, and you hear, you know, some rumor or something's online that's negative about you that you didn't know, that could have been exposed. And, you know, and a lot of times it could be Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant that did it. So I'll let you know at the end of the video whether I think it's them or not. Now, Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius is known to be very jocular, jovial, and fun-loving, and they're not, you know, ones that you would think, you know, could be very, you know, scary. They had that, you know, there are exceptions to that rule. I forget his name, I don't know if I'm saying it right, John Wayne Gacy. You know, that one, that killer clown, that guy that disguised himself as a clown. I believe he had Sagittarius rising. He was a Pisces sun. I think he had a Pisces moon as well, and a Sag ascendant. You know, you talk about an actual scary clown. That would be, you know, a good example. But, you know, Sagittarius is not, you know, they're very, you know, benevolent. They're about goodwill, having hope and faith, and they're not ones where you would really equate with being scary or putting you in some strong state of fright or trepidation. So I would have a hard time putting, you know, Sagittarius, you know, there as the, you know, the scariest of the zodiac signs. Now, going to Capricorn. Well, Capricorn is known, you know, you have a very serious and stern disposition. They're known also for ruthless ambition. You know, they don't really, you know, in Capricorn, in business or whatever, it just, they don't always want, even though it's the sign connected with rules and regulations and parameters, they may not always play fair in order to reach the pinnacle of success. Now, does that make them the most, the scariest sign of the zodiac? They may be close. I don't know if I would put them there, though, as far as the scariest, you know, zodiac sign. But, you know, they can, Capricorn is known to be, you know, rather, you know, in a very negative expression, to be very cold, callous, and undemonstrative. And, you know, they can be right up there. I don't know if I put them as the scariest zodiac sign. Now, Aquarius. You know, Aquarius is known, you know, to be unpredictable, spontaneous. They will do the things that, you know, a lot of other people will not do, whether it's good or bad. They could be that person that, you know, climbs the walls like Spider-Man and puts some suction cups on their hands and decides to scale a building when other people will not do it. They're the nonconformists. They will do these bizarre things that, you know, a lot of people would be very reluctant to do. I had an Aquarius rising friend one time. He got was in a vehicle with him, and he unpredictably drove up a grass hill into a parking lot instead of taking the conventional route. I mean, if that's not typical Aquarius behavior, I don't know what is. And what can make them scary is that you have, you know, some Aquarians, you know, they might be unpredictable and doing something negative, you know, to a person. You know, I don't mean just like, you know, laying in, you know, what appears to be an apple on a table and then have someone drop it in a trash can and have it explode. You know, I mean, they can be, Aquarius can, you know, be, you know, unpredictable for, you know, doing positive or negative things. But I don't know if I put them as the scariest zodiac sign. What could actually, but what is scary about them, though, is their unpredictability is really what it comes down to. And they have, you know, more this it's a sign connected with computers, and they're the ones that can be the better hackers of the zodiac, and they could do things, to cause, some issues for you, say online or with your computer, if you get, if you have an Aquarius that's geared toward doing that. But I don't know if I put them as the scariest of the zodiac signs. Sometimes their erratic behavior can be very scary, though. Now, going to Pisces. Well, Pisces, in theory, is like the amalgamation of, the previous 11 zodiac signs. And, what's scary about them, I mean, is the fact that, they're similar to Gemini, because Pisces, it's, can have so many, act, so many different ways they could be, act one way one minute, in 1 minute the next. Their changeability, a lot of that is attributed to just, really being impressionable to their environment. Pisces may often copy or mimic the behavior around them, for better or worse. And if you put Pisces in an environment that's negative, that's criminal, and they're around contemporaries that are like that are doing corrupt things, they can be very dangerous, because they can really strongly mimic the behavior of those that are in company with. But I'll tell you at the end of the video whether I think it's them or not. I mean, Pisces emotions are all encompassing too, which can be, dangerous if it's, expressed towards somebody else in a negative way. Now, I'm going to tell you what sign I think is the most, in terms of the scariest zodiac sign. Well, I do believe it's Scorpio, unequivocally, because Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, is about terror. Scorpio can be very formidable. It is a fixed sign. They're about power and control. They understand how to manipulate others better than the other zodiac signs on average. And as I was stating before, the zodiac sign Scorpio can really be, not just be master manipulator. The thing about them is that they'll find that way to get even with somebody better than any of the other zodiac signs on average. They find that perfect way of exacting vengeance on another person, and that's where they can be the scariest. Even their presence can be scary. I mean, Scorpio can have such a tremendous, piercing, and penetrating gaze, and it's like they look right into you, and they see, what your weakness is very quickly. And then once they get that, they can use that against you, or they find out a secret about you that others were unable to unearth for whatever reason, because Scorpio is enamored with investigation. They can have tremendous investigation ability. And you have some Scorpios that can be very, very intimidating too. And in some cases they will, they may use force when necessary, and won't have any trouble doing so. And it's really, and you have, with Scorpio, you have the rulership of Mars and Pluto. So it can be very destructive anger with Scorpio. I was reading, this is about Scorpio rising. I was reading that book, the Rising Sign by Jean Avery. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but she made some analogy or something with, Scorpio rising was like a dam that only can take so much water hitting it, and it just like explodes or something after it takes so much. And the same could be said, it could still apply, I'd say, to the Scorpio sun and moon as well as the Ascendant. But this is the Scorpio people, their emotions, I mean, can be very intense and turbulent. When Scorpio becomes really angry, it could be very scary and very frightening. And it's frightening. What's scary about them is just what they can do to another person, if they choose to do so. And I'm not trying to stereotype by any means or say all Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Ascendant people are like this, because it's not the case. But on average, they are the most formidable, they are the most frightening of all the zodiac signs. And they will, like I stated, I mean, they will find out something, some weakness about you very quickly. and they will have no hesitation in using it against you, and that could be one of the scariest things about the zodiac sign, Scorpio. And the thing about it too is they're the ones that can also be most adept, I would say, at stalking someone and without the other person even knowing about it, because they can be so surreptitious and sneaky, and that could be very scary about them as well. And it may be really hard to determine actually who the person is in that case, because they understand how to be very secretive about and mysterious about whatever is um, they're doing. So, and in some instances, isolated instances, that could be stalking in some cases. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.